Would you believe it if I told you that Kevin Hunter has ended up in court again, this time with a pretty audacious demand? He's insisting on getting his hands on every bit of financial information Wendy Williams has. He's got quite the nerve, don't you think? The timing is a bit suspicious, too. Right after he decides to put a ring on Sharina Hudson's finger, he wants to dig into Wendy's finances, almost like he's counting on a hefty paycheck to pay for their wedding or something. Goodness, these two. They really need to take a break and stop bothering Wendy, especially with everything she's currently dealing with. Remember some news floating around a while back? There was talk of Sharina ditching Kevin because he had completely run through both his and Sharina's money. I mean, we're talking about millions of dollars here. And now he wants to get his hands on Wendy's finances? It's almost like he's addicted to spending money that isn't his. Subscribe to the channel and stay with me till the end. Honestly, it's quite unnerving to see someone be so shameless and greedy. But then again, this isn't the first time Kevin has been accused of being unethical with money. Remember the whole scandal with his mistress, where he was accused of using Wendy's show money to fund his extramarital affair? And let's not forget the allegations of domestic abuse against Wendy. It's clear that Kevin has a troubled past and present, and it's about time he takes responsibility for his actions. But what about Wendy in all of this? She's been through so much, both personally and professionally. Can you believe it? The audacity of these two, getting hitched and now setting their sights on Wendy's hard-earned money. They're a married couple now. Can you even believe it? In case you missed the bombshell, Kevin dropped the big news on Instagram. He's officially tied the knot with Sharina, his long-term not-so-secret flame. He decided to give Sharina a shout-out on her birthday, gushing about her in all caps. And let's not forget the two red exclamation marks for dramatic effect. He referred to her as his wife. Yes, you heard that right. His post read something along the lines of, "Happy birthday, my queen, mother, chef wife. If you dream it, you can have it, forever and always. You can't make this stuff up." Looks like Kevin really did go and marry Sharina, but the burning question on everyone's lips is, how are they planning to keep the marriage afloat? Trust me, I have some pretty solid hunches about that one. Kevin and Sharina have been together for over a decade now, even before Wendy Williams came into the picture. They've managed to keep their relationship under wraps all this time, so it's safe to say that they know how to keep things private. But let's be real. With Kevin being in the public eye and constantly surrounded by paparazzi and media attention, it will take a lot more than secrecy to keep their marriage out of the spotlight. So, what other tricks do they have up their sleeves? Perhaps they'll resort to lavish vacations and exotic getaways, or maybe even have separate homes in different cities. Who knows? Anything is possible with that kind of money. But one thing's for sure. They definitely won't be flaunting their relationship on social media, as Kevin did with his public confession of love. But let's not forget about the elephant in the room, Wendy Williams. As much as we hate to admit it, she's bound to find out about this sooner or later. And when she does, things are definitely going to get messy. We can only imagine the drama that will unfold and the juicy details that will be revealed on Wendy's infamous talk show. Will she confront Kevin about his secret marriage? Will she spill all their secrets? Only time will tell. All right, let's get straight to it. Kevin hasn't stopped trying to get Wendy's money. I'm not even joking. It's neither an assumption nor a joke. He seriously returned to the courtroom insisting on seeing the financial records he alleges were promised to him in the course of their divorce settlement talks. Previously, Kevin had taken Wendy to court because he began lagging behind on his bills. He listed the house he was living in with Sharina for sale, and he borrowed from 2 luxury cars via a firm named Flex Wealth. Moreover, he faced a lawsuit from UBS Bank, which accused him of declining to settle his credit card bills. Evidently, his situation isn't improving because he's again back in the legal arena, demanding to see Wendy's financial documents. Isn't he exhausted from repeatedly pursuing Wendy's finances to support Sharina and their daughter? Kevin likely assured Sharina he had a strategy to convince Wendy to give them money, which could be why she consented to marry him. So, according to these legal documents, Kevin shares that on December 8, 2022, he found himself in mediation with Wendy's legal representation and her court-appointed guardian lawyer from New York, Sharina Morsi. During this session, Wendy's legal team and appointed guardian agreed to deliver account statements and bank records, a move they asserted had been granted approval by the New York court. However, Kevin reveals that they never came to fruition despite these alleged assurances from Wendy's guardian and her counsel that they would furnish him with Wendy's bank details. Consequently, by December 19th, having reportedly received no further communication from Wendy's team, Kevin found himself compelled to email the mediator. He copied all parties involved, expressing his concerns over a lack of openness and good faith in their communication and what he perceived as dishonesty in the mediation process. Despite Wendy's team's silence, Kevin didn't stop. He continued to chase after them for Wendy's financial records. His efforts seemed to yield some results. Finally, on February 8, 2023. On that day, a letter arrived from Wendy's counsel. It declared that the guardian would only provide bank statements for the brief period of November and December of 2022. This letter only added to Kevin's suspicions, as he had requested records for the entire year of 2022. He questioned why Wendy's team would only provide statements for 2 months, not the full year. In response to this letter, Kevin sent another email on February 12th, stating that he would like a more detailed explanation for why they were only providing statements for 2 months and not the whole year. Despite his continued efforts, Kevin never received a response from Wendy's team regarding the missing financial records. As a result, he decided to take legal action against Wendy's guardians and counsel for their lack of transparency and cooperation in the mediation process. Kevin also asserts that the proposal to overlook Wendy's 2-month bank statements came with additional conditions. These were, disappointingly, not talked about or agreed upon earlier. Beyond that, the letter went on to specify that I could only scrutinize the documents at the mediator's office. Quite frankly, this wasn't the initial agreement. The original pact was to inspect all the records from the separation date up to the present. What all this boils down to is that Kevin has reignited their divorce proceedings in court. This step was taken after mediation outside the courtroom couldn't produce any fruitful outcome. It seems that Kevin was receiving payments as per the marital settlement deal he had with Wendy. He now alleges via new court papers that those payments abruptly stopped in January 2022. This was when Wells Fargo, Wendy's bank, denied her access to her accounts and recommended a guardianship hearing. According to Kevin, Wendy's move was an attempt to hide her assets and defraud him. He also claims that she has been using the marital funds for her own personal use, which is a violation of their agreement. Can't quite wrap my head around what aspect of Wendy is broke Kevin fails to grasp. It's been underscored repeatedly, not least by Wendy herself. She's openly admitted, "I'm penniless. And let me tell you, if it happened to me, it could happen to you." Interestingly, Kevin has been persistent in seeking proof of Wendy's financial status. Close sources to the talks have shared that during a rendezvous in December 2022, a facilitator, who happened to be a former judge from New Jersey, informed Kevin and his entourage, "Wendy's funds have dried up." These conciliation attempts addressed Kevin's assertion that he was due a payout as per their divorce agreement. Despite the judge's formal announcement about Wendy's financial plight, Kevin was adamant that no tangible evidence had been presented to substantiate the claim that Wendy was bankrupt. His point of contention? When Wendy's bank initially initiated guardianship proceedings, her Wells Fargo accounts were brimming with cash. As some of you might recall, Wendy's Wells Fargo accounts were put on lockdown in the early January 2022, following the bank's insinuations that she could be a target of financial malpractice. I distinctly remember Wendy expressing her frustration at being unable to access her own money. So, let's break this down. Wendy's Wells Fargo bank accounts were locked up, right? And Kevin states that Wendy went broke in under a year. Yet, according to him, this doesn't quite add up. It's thought that Wells Fargo, rather than Wendy, hit the pause button on the payments going to Kevin, payments that were settled in their divorce agreement. The guardian stepped in and kept the payments on hold. Now, Kevin argues that Wendy had sufficient funds at the time of their divorce to pay him a lump sum. He also believes that even under guardianship, Wendy had more than enough to settle his payment. He's now calling for an end to this, demanding full access to all financial records and the resumption of his alimony payments. Here's where it gets interesting. Many folks are saying Kevin's timing isn't a coincidence. They believe he's seizing the chance, whilst Wendy's family has aired grievances about the guardianship. He's using their doubts to press his demand for those financial records. Some people are even saying that Kevin's being opportunistic by bringing this issue up now, after all these years. There's no denying that this high-profile divorce has been anything but smooth sailing for either party involved. It seems like every few months there's a new twist and turn that leaves everyone wondering what exactly is going on. But beyond the drama and speculation surrounding Wendy and Kevin's divorce, bigger issues are at play here. The fact that Wendy's finances were placed under guardianship speaks volumes about her financial well-being. It raises questions about how she managed to go from being a successful talk show host and businesswoman to having her bank accounts locked up. All in all, during all this drama, no one cares about Wendy's emotional breakdown. Nobody asks how she's coping with everything. Instead, the focus is solely on money and who has access to it. I hope she can find peace amidst all of this and that the truth will eventually come out. So that's a wrap-up. If you like this content, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And if you have any thoughts or opinions on what's going on with Wendy and Kevin, feel free to leave them in the comments below.